right, let's bow our heads for prayer. Dear Jesus, thank you so much for bringing all these people here. We know that they've given our class so much support, and thank you for bringing us so far in our education to this day that we get to graduate, and thank you for being with us always, and we thank you for your blessings. Amen.
I would also like to invite any former Corlears members to sing this song with us. Oh, it's No Time, don't forget.
Well, good morning. Good morning. I have the privilege of introducing the speaker of the hour for our class of 2016, Justin Okimi. My first real memory of Maplewood Academy was my first church outreach. I was a sophomore, and I didn't know anyone. I was assigned to go with the principal at the time, Justin Okimi, and a couple other kids to a church up in Park Rapids. Now, I remember this memory very vividly because my dear friend Justin Okimi had a big bowl of trail mix in the car with him that day. And let's just say there was a lot of jerks on the road, and we were swerving a lot, and it was not safe. And ever since then, I've always hearkened on him to keep his driving skills on par. And that's what friends do. They keep each other up and stuff like that. But the most important thing is that Justin Okimi is a dear friend of everyone of my friends of the 2016 class. He has taught us to be a leader, he has taught us to be a good friend, and most of all, he has taught us to live our life through Christ. And we appreciate him, we appreciate you coming out, and I'm speaking on our behalf, and we love you, Mr. Okimi.
Good morning. Thank you, Oliver. I'm glad you didn't include the part about the iPad. Good morning, graduates. Congratulations.
Thank you.
August 20, 2012. Do you remember where you were?
Registration day.
It's good, Dominic. Good memory. It was a new school year. And graduates, it was your freshman year. It was my freshman year as well here at Maplewood. I was your new principal. And on August 19 actually was registration day, Dominic, sorry. That was Sunday. But on August 20, the first day of school, we started classes with energy and excitement from all of us because it was a new school year. But for you especially, it was the beginning of high school. Some of you weren't here yet, I know, but you were somewhere beginning your own high school career and beginning on a path that would lead you here today. So on August 20, classes started, and in the evening, we loaded the buses, and we went to North Star Camp. And we started our spiritual retreat there. And we gathered in the lodge that evening, and we sang, and we had a worship, and I told you a story. And it was a short story. It was one that I tell often. If you weren't there, you might have heard me tell it the next year or the next year. And if you haven't heard it yet, you're going to hear it again this morning. But it's one of the first conversations that I remember from my academy experience. It happened my sophomore year, the year I went to boarding school. And our school, Kingsway, we went on a spiritual retreat, just like we did your freshman year. And I remember I was a young sophomore, I was new to everything, and I was talking to this mature junior, named Paul. And he seemed to know all about my school and all about how things work. And he told me words that I have remembered all these years, words that have shaped my life. He said, "Kingsway is what you make it. If you want to have a good time here, you will. If you don't, you won't. Kingsway is what you make it. If you want to have a good time, you will. If you don't, you won't." And those words may never end up on a t-shirt. They may never be class motto or something like that. But those words changed my life. And I shared them that day, the first full day of your freshman year. I shared them at the beginning and end of each school year that I was your principal. I said, though, Maplewood is what you make it. If you want to have a good experience here, you will. And if you don't, you won't. Well, today is your last day at Maplewood, and it's definitely too late to change your experience. So I hope that you made it the best time of your life so far. But whether you did or not, you can't go back and make your Maplewood experience anything else. But I hope that you suspected when I said that Maplewood is whatever you make it, back in August 2012, something that I want to share with you this morning. And that truth is, it's not just that Maplewood is what you make it, but your life is what you make it. Not just high school, not just college, not just your first job, your marriage, raising a family and growing up, not any single one of those things, but all of those experiences, all of life is what you choose to make it. So this morning I challenge you to think and to consider, and most importantly, to decide and act on what kind of life you want to make for yourself. When I read your class verse, I see that you have an intent that you're stating for your lives. You're telling me and you're telling all of us gathered here what kind of life you want to make. It says in the version I read, "No, dear brothers and sisters, I have not achieved it, but I focus on this one thing, forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead. I press on to reach the end of the race and receive the heavenly prize for which God, through Christ Jesus, is calling us." And I thought it was helpful as I prepared to go back to verse 12, because it says something here that I want to capture. It says, "I don't mean to say that I have already achieved these things or that I have already reached perfection, but I press on to possess that perfection for which Christ Jesus first possessed me." To forget the past, to focus on this one thing, to press on to the end of the race and receive the heavenly prize, to possess perfection. So as I reflected on this verse and on this statement that you're making about what you want to make of your lives, I thought about the idea of a race for a little while. And I got stumped because I don't know a lot about races. You know, when we used to live here in Minnesota, I used to run or jog a little bit. I did the 5K at Alumni Weekend with some of you. I did the color run. I remember a few of you throwing colored chalk at me while I ran. I remember who you are. But I thought, wouldn't it be really great if they had chosen a commencement speaker who was a marathon runner, who had just run so many races in their life and could tell you how to be an expert runner, how to prepare, and how to excel at this race that you're starting or continuing. But I've never run a marathon. We've moved to Florida. It's a little warmer there, so I did run a 5K in January, something we couldn't do in Minnesota. And I had ran it faster than I had ever run before, but I didn't win anything, and 5K is not that big or long to make me an expert. So I thought, well, they really should have got someone who is expert at races to come talk to you today. But then I stopped to think again, and it made me think of the beginning part of that verse. As you continue toward this heavenly prize, to possess perfection, my first challenge to you is that you keep learning. Because I've been in this race a little longer than you, not a lot longer, just a little. Not as long as some people in this room, and you've been in the race longer than some people in this room too. You have people looking up to you, following behind you. So while I'm not a marathon runner, I'm not an expert racer or the fastest runner you've ever met, I'm someone who is in this race, just like you. A little farther ahead maybe, but not much. And I want to tell you what I have to do, which I hope you'll do too, and that's keep learning. Keep recognizing that we can keep doing better. We can keep stretching to run a little faster, a little longer. You've just finished 12 to 14 years of formal schooling, depending on if you started kindergarten or not. So I'm thinking for many of you, you're probably close to or over halfway done with your formal schooling. Some of you, depending how long it takes you to finish college. But don't stop learning. No matter when you finish school, never finish learning. Read good books, ask questions, participate in discussion and dialogue, learn from your teachers, learn from the people around you. You can even learn from something I know you're probably carrying in your pocket, your phone. I learn a lot of things from my phone. I looked at my search history just briefly so I could see a snapshot of what I've learned from my phone recently. I looked up recently a list of states by population, and I learned that where I live in Florida is the third largest state. I had no idea. I also learned that in Florida they have found Nile crocodiles. And I'd like to point out, in case you slept through geography, the Nile is in Egypt, and their crocodiles are not supposed to be in Florida, but they are there. I also learned the history of St. Augustine, the oldest city in the US, which is in Florida. I learned how to make a fruit fly trap, but it's not a very good one. I learned how to plant a garden in Florida. I tried to use my phone to find out why the Krispy Kreme by my house doesn't sell orange donuts, but the internet didn't have an answer for that. I looked up where A&W started and who invented root beer. I looked up how to cook quinoa, and much to the disappointment of your math teachers and mine, I had to look up the definition of a trapezoid. So keep learning. With access to unlimited information in your pocket, you have to be more than knowledgeable. You have to be wise. You have to learn to process that information. It isn't all accurate. It isn't all true. It isn't all good. So learn to filter, learn to assess, learn to evaluate. Learn from people. Every person has a story, and if you learn to ask questions, you can gain a wealth of information just listening to people talk about what they do, where they live, and what they value. To learn, you have to stay flexible. This helps for running too, but I mean more than that. I mean as a person. When I was your principal, most of you spent some time in my office. Some of you because you wanted candy. Some of you came because you were working for Miss Cummings or Mr. Nennick or Mrs. Stocks. And some of you came to my office for a more serious kind of conversation. And we won't focus on the why we had those conversations today, because here you are, and you made it, and we're glad about that. But my point is that I hope that some of you heard me say this, and I hope you remember it, but if you didn't, I hope you hear me right now. That I believe in second chances. I believe in third chances and fourth chances and fifth chances, and some of you may have been trying to find out how high I would go. But whether in high school or in life, I believe that to keep learning means that we have to be okay with making mistakes, because they're going to happen. They do happen to all of us. So keep learning from them and from every opportunity you come across. So my first challenge for you today, as you continue or start this race, however you look at it, is to keep learning. It's number one. There's no test, don't worry. My second challenge is to make every moment count. Thinking about a race, again, there are some key moments. You have to make the start of the race count. So depending on how you look at it, you could say it's too late for that if the race is life. You're 16 to 19 years into that. But maybe you can think about this as a new starting line, so you can make this beginning count. You also want to make the last few moments of the race count. You know, you get that last energy, that last push to sprint toward the finish line. I'm not at the end of my race, and neither are you. So today I'll focus on the middle of the race. I hope you make every moment count in the middle of the race. You know, it's easy to be focused and energized at the beginning, and you get a natural boost of energy toward the end. But in the middle of the race, it's easy to get discouraged, to lose sight of the goal, to forget why you're running. And the longer the race, and a lifetime is about the longest race you can have, the easier it is to forget the motivation that you felt at the beginning. It's easy to get discouraged and think you'll never get to where you're trying to go. An important part of focusing on this one thing, on pressing on to the end of the race, is to make every moment count. You may remember I used to ride my bike around campus from time to time. And I still have that bike. It's only actually the second bike that I have ever owned that I got brand new. I have 3 older brothers, so I had a lot of hand-me-down bikes. And when I was 12, I got a new bike, and I kept that one until I was in my 20s. And then I got a new bike, and that's the bike I rode around campus and I still have now. But I say this to give you some context again. I'm not an expert biker. I'm not a mountain bike racer. I'm not a BMX bike racer or a road bike racer. I have, in fact, never ridden my bike in a race. In fact, sometimes I used to see how slowly I could ride my bike around Marvin. But whether or not I have ridden in a race, I have learned the hard way that every moment is important while riding a bicycle. I used to ride my bike to basketball practice. Some of you will remember basketball practice at 5 in the morning or 5:30 in the morning we used to go. I can't remember, but I know that it was dark. That's an important part of the story. So I would ride my bike because I was almost late often, and I didn't want to make Coach make me run suicides with all of you who were really late. But on the road from my house to the gym, it was very dark. And one time I was riding home from practice, still dark, and my tire dropped into one of the potholes, and I flew over the handlebars of my bike. I think I told you about that in a worship later on. But more than I bruised my body, I bruised my ego. And this is always why I told you you had to wear a helmet when you rode your bicycles. But this reminds me of how if you take your eyes off your goal for just one split second, you can crash and end up underneath your bike or your life. Now keep in mind, it's a long race. So you will have moments of distraction. That's a guarantee. You will make mistakes. You will fall off your bike. Remember challenge 1, keep learning. But I hope that you make every moment count in your race toward the heavenly prize. Making every moment race count sounds a little too theoretical for me. I mean, it's easy to say, but how do you do that? I'm still figuring that out. Remember, I'm in this race too, just a little further ahead. So we have to practice these methods. Some of my methods won't work for some of you, just like my bicycle is too tall or too short for some of you. But I think if you keep your eyes on the prize, you'll have at least an idea, or you'll continue to get to know better each moment how to do that. For example, if you're going to college, you should study hard. For some of you, it's time to start studying. Putting in effort at the beginning of your college experience is much easier than trying to catch up at the end. You might have learned that in high school. But for some of you, it's also important to remember, don't study so hard that you miss out on making meaningful friendships and memories. It's a hard balance to learn, and it takes practice, like learning to ride a bicycle. So keep practicing. Sometimes stay up late. Pull a few all-nighters, because sometimes an A on that project or paper or exam is worth it. And also, spend Friday afternoons hanging out with your friends instead of doing homework. Then when you do your homework, get together with your friends to do it. Find a balance. I mean that you should work hard in school and in after school in your career, but not so hard that you forget to take care of yourself, your physical health, your emotional health, your mental health, and most importantly, your spiritual health. I mean, make every moment count by setting goals and milestones along the way of your race. What you want for a career, who you want to spend your life with, whether or not you want to have kids. But don't make the mistake of thinking that those are a replacement for the goal, the heavenly goal of perfection. Making every moment count means keeping focused on what you can do and what's working well. Don't waste time on regret or worry about things you've already done. When you make a mistake, remember challenge 1, keep learning. And then just keep focused on the goal and what you can do right now, today, this moment, to get there. My last story happened during the same trip to camp when I was a sophomore, when my friend Paul told me that Kingsway is what you make it. Each year in high school, we started the year off with an event that we called Mega Marathon. It was a giant relay race, including 3-legged races, potato sack races, long runs, sprints, canoe races. You get the point. The first race of the day, though, was a swimming race. The way that relay worked was, instead of a baton, we each had a class jersey. So the person who ran the long race would wear the class jersey, and then they would pass it off to the person who ran from that event to the next event. Then that person would put on the jersey, and so on. But the swimming race was first, probably because they didn't want us to wear the jersey while we swam. So the swimming race being first is fine in one sense, but let's remember that I went to school in Canada, and if you remember my office geography, where I grew up in Canada is further south than here in Minnesota, but it was still kind of cold in the lake, like it is in Minnesota. So we started early in the morning with a swimming race. And my sophomore year was my first year at Academy. I had signed up for swimming because I like to swim a lot more than I like to run or ride my bicycle. So the race started, and we jumped into the ice-cold water, and I swam with everything I could toward the marker. My lungs felt like ice as I reached it and turned around to head back. It's hard to keep track of other people when you're swimming a race in a lake, but I was pretty sure that I was doing well, especially for a sophomore. But I have to pause and tell you one more thing, because none of you know this, because by the time I got to Maplewood, I didn't wear glasses anymore. But in high school, I wore glasses. And I didn't swim with them on, for obvious reasons. But I couldn't see very much without them. So as I swam toward the finish line, I tagged my runner up on the dock, and then climbed up to thaw out of the ice-cold water. Well, once I got my bearings and got dried off and got my glasses back on, I realized that my classmates on the dock were kind of upset. And they didn't seem like they were upset at me, but they were they were upset at some injustice that had occurred. So again, I have 3 older brothers, and my next older brother, Greg, and I went to school together. And it was the very beginning, my first weekend of academy, and my brother and I look fairly similar most of the time, but especially when we're wet. So what had happened is that when I got to the dock, I just tagged blindly, not being able to see anything, for the relay runner. And the junior took off running because he thought that it was Greg who had arrived at the dock and not me. Of course, we were very upset about this. We were sophomores, and the juniors had an unfair advantage now, and we probably never would have come close to winning anyway. But we might have. So this leads me to my third and final challenge for you this morning. Remember that who is more important than what. Tagging any relay runner was not really as important in that moment as identifying who my runner was. And I think that you can apply this challenge in a couple different ways. Who is more important than what? I hope that you remember this morning to surround yourself with the right people as you continue on in this race. Surround yourself with people who cheer you on, people who believe in you, people who want you to know who you are and not confuse you with your brother. People who love you as unconditionally as is possible for humans. People who trust you and forgive you and give you lots of second chances and hope the best for you. People who want you to keep learning and do better next time. Look out there and see those people who have gathered today to cheer you on. Remember their importance. And as you make new friends and find new mentors, remember that it is who is more important than what. Don't look for rich friends or cool friends or you fill in the blank what kind of people you might be tempted to look for. Look for people who make you the best version of yourself. Find these people to be your friends, your spouses, your teachers, your role models, your coworkers, your bosses. I hope you have the best who when it comes to who is watching you continue in this race and cheering you on. Also remember that who you are is more important than what you are. I want you to be whatever you choose to be. Be an engineer or a doctor, be a mother or a father, be a friend, a brother, a sister, a lawyer, pharmacist, secretary, pastor, teacher, nurse, veterinarian, nanny, social worker, dentist, dental hygienist, architect, carpenter, plumber, neurologist, scientist. Be in healthcare or in banking or in manufacturing or technology or at Pizza Hut or Target. Be a musician, an artist, a graphic designer, an accountant. Be anything that you want. But remember that who is more important than what you are. Be a good human first. Be a good listener, a thoughtful friend. Be an encouraging word, a hug. Be a person who takes time for others and who cares and puts others first as much as possible. Be a person of character and integrity. Finally, remember who you are running this race for. After I read your verse, I looked it up in another version, in the Message, and I love the way it was put there. I think there's an important truth captured in that version as well. Let me read it. It says, "Friends, don't get me wrong. By no means do I count myself an expert on all this. I'm not an expert marathon runner or bike rider or even swimmer. But I've got my eye on the goal, where God is beckoning us onward, to Jesus. I'm often running, and I'm not turning back." So in one way, you're running toward perfection, and that's true. And also remember that you're racing toward Jesus. Remember the who that you're racing toward. Remember the who that you're racing with, not just the people that you surround yourself with, but remember to keep Jesus as your goal and constant companion along the way. Swimming is a lot different than running and biking in a lot of ways, and one of those ways is really important. In running and biking, you can breathe whenever you want. It may hurt to breathe if you're running too fast or if you have color dust in your lungs, but you can usually still breathe. When you're swimming, though, you have to make a conscious decision every moment to swim and to breathe, to swim and breathe, to swim and breathe. Learning the rhythm of breathing while swimming is crucially important to winning swimming races. Eventually, it becomes such a fluid discipline that you don't have to think. You just swim, breathe, swim, breathe, swim, breathe. but that takes practice. And this is more like life in some ways than running or biking. Early on in our race, we have to be very conscious of turning each moment to our spiritual breath, connecting with Jesus. Eventually, and I don't think that I'm here yet, but eventually I think we get better and better to the point that we are constantly turning to Jesus every moment. But we have to keep practicing that. So I encourage you as you race toward your goal, don't try to swim this race underwater, holding your spiritual breath. Turn your head. Breathe in Jesus. Breathe out discouragement. Breathe out fear. Breathe in Jesus. Breathe out doubt and worry and resentment. Breathe in Jesus. Who is more important than what? Don't forget the who. It's a long race, and it's my hope and my challenge that you remember to keep racing with Him and to Him. Life is what you make it. These are the words that have stuck with me ever since I was a sophomore in high school. And you've chosen to make your life a specific thing, to forget the past, to focus on this one thing, to press on to the end and receive that heavenly prize. You've chosen to make your life a drive toward that goal, heavenly perfection in Jesus Christ. So my hope today and my challenge is that you remember to keep learning along the way, that you make every moment count, and that you remember that who is more important than what. Race for Jesus, race to Jesus, and race with Jesus. Congratulations, class of 2016.
Go ahead. Have your last laugh. Go ahead. For 4 years, we have been your sponsors and your teachers. We hope that we have taught you something valuable that you can take with you. But today, we'd like to share with you the things we have learned from them.
We have learned the value of diversity. This class represents not only uniqueness of individuality, but also many countries around the world. It has opened our eyes to different perspectives, and despite our differences, encompassing all perspectives enriches our understanding of life.
Another way they have inspired us is through their strength in adversity. Even in their young lives, several have already experienced the heartache of divorce, loss of parents and grandparents. They have dealt with illnesses, cancer, even violence and addiction. Yet they have shown strength and have used those adversities to grow in character, in a closer relationship with God, and in service to others.
One lesson that was especially important for us as sponsors to learn is not to sweat the small stuff. One phrase that we've heard a lot over the 4 years with this class is, "Don't worry, we got you. You're good. We'll be fine." Something that we just need to learn was just to enjoy the moment.
Today, Laura and Merlin and I have left a gift underneath your chairs for you. But we would also like to say to you that as you leave here, you can call on us at any time, because we would like to say to you, don't worry, we got you. So it is our privilege today to introduce to you
Maplewood Academy's class of 2016.
As the chair of the Maplewood Academy Board, I have the privilege to speak in their behalf. And I believe I speak on behalf of the entire board when I say, we're proud of you. Congratulations, and we're very happy for your accomplishments. We pray God's grace upon you and His blessings as you go forward from this day. God bless you.
Maplewood Academy is blessed in many ways. Aside from our students who bless us daily by their presence and the gifts they give to us, we have many alumni, church members, and friends who bless our students continually through their gifts. And so this morning we're going to take some time to present some awards to Maplewood Academy juniors and seniors who have excelled this school year. The first award will be presented by John Hallberg Jones.
Good morning. What a joy it is to be back at Maplewood Academy. My wife and I have been at the Adventist Church for less than 10 years. The pin I wear says 3ABN. That's what got us here. If you look in the parking lot, you'll find a car with that same license plate. That's how I got here today, because I figure it pays to advertise, folks. But we've got connections here at Maplewood and in the Adventist Church that we've found go back a century and a quarter. Our sister-in-law was in the class of 1960. Her two aunts, one was in the class of 1930 and one in 32. The one who was in the class of 32 married a guy named Boyd Olson, and he was the principal here in 61. We connect back a long ways. And Boyd's grandfather was president of the Minnesota Conference in about 1890 and was elected president for the United States division as well. So our connections to the Adventist Church go back a long time. And though I was licensed in the Episcopal Church for 15 years and stopped at the Assemblies of God for about 10, where Lane and I served as deacons, we now feel like we've come home. That's what the Adventist Church is. Today I get to wear two hats. I get to wear the first one for the Sons of the American Revolution, an organization comprised of some 36,000 men who have traced their genealogy back to someone who participated in the American Revolution. Interesting task. Genealogy is a fun hobby. I started at age 15 because I figured it made history come alive. I could tell what my great-great whatever did in part of this early United States. One of the awards that we give is the Good Citizenship Medal. The recipient is either a junior or senior, male or female. We may be the sons of the American Revolution, but a male or a female can win. And it's a faculty selection based on character, scholarship, leadership, and service. And we say that comprises good citizenship. The award is a medal, bronze medallion, with the Minuteman on the front of it. The certificate comes with it, so that we recognize that. But that's from the organization. My wife and I add $100 in scholarship money just because we value the Adventist education. And as we look out, I've seen in the last 10 years two kinds of Adventists in Minnesota, those who went to Maplewood Academy and those who wish they had. My wife and I, sadly, are in the latter case, but we did go to high school together and got married over 52 years ago because we've known each other a long time. So today, it's my privilege as Secretary-Treasurer of the Minneapolis chapter of the Sons of the American Revolution to present the Bronze Good Citizenship Medal to Dylan Forcier. Dylan, on the back of the medal it says, "Our inspiration is from the past, our duty is to the present, but our hope is in the future." As we look at your generation, and I'm 2 generations away from that because I've got grandchildren older than you, you're the hope for the future of the United States. The citizenship that you represent, the education you've had here, and the faith that you've built here, we look at and say, that's what we need in the United States. Congratulations, Godspeed, best wishes in all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. So now I get to change hats. Take off one, put on the other. And now the organization that I represent is the Military Order of World Wars. Started by General Pershing following the end of the First World War, its open membership is for commissioned officers in any of the services of this country. Some 30 years ago, I was one of the founders of the Fort Snelling chapter, our only chapter in Minnesota, and I've been privileged to be its commander and adjutant and treasurer, and for the last 10 years, chaplain. One of the awards we give is the Patrick Henry Medallion. It's a beautiful bronze medallion, and with it comes a citation, and it is given for excellence in the study of United States history. The medallion and the citation are from the organization. My wife and I, again, from the Lorraine Yatskuski Jones and John Hallberg Jones Scholarship Fund, add scholarship funds of $100 to the award. Patrick Henry Medallion. That's a name that goes back in the history of this country a long way. Today, we are very pleased to present the Patrick Henry Medallion to Regina Leach. Mom and Dad got the camera because I know Mom and Dad because we're at Southview and that's where you folks have been for a long time. We are pleased to give this to you. And I want you to know Patrick Henry, as you go back in history, is known for a famous phrase that he used, and you probably learned it in history, and all of you probably know it. But you got to go back a couple of sentences in his speech to the Virginia House of Burgesses to hear a little bit about his character. As he looked at the situation, he said, "Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery?" And then he said these 4 words, "Forbid it, Almighty God." Because Patrick Henry was a man of faith. And that's what you've got here at Maplewood, a good education, and you're a lady of faith. We're glad that you represent Patrick Henry in this, and we are pleased to honor you and present this to you. We wish you Godspeed. Congratulations. Awesome. Take care. Now I want to just add a couple of quick comments to the class and to all of you. The genealogy hobby that I have, starting at age 15, I've done for now over 55 years. The only genealogy that's really important is that's in the Bible. We're the heirs of Christ. That's what's important. But I must tell you something. From the standpoint of history, last year in the year 2015, it was the 800th anniversary of the Magna Carta. That was a document issued by King John in England on the plains at Runnymede and witnessed by 25 barons. And it was the first document of democracy because the king ceded some of his power to the people. Now, how far back do you go in your genealogy? Well, in my case, it's 29 generations to get to the Magna Carta, and I've documented a lot of it. But how many people does that represent? If you filled in every blank, every generation doubles in size. So the pyramid starts with you at the bottom, and it goes like this, and it goes 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and it keeps going until about the year 1215, 800 years ago. Because at 2 to the 29th power, that generation is equal to the population of the planet Earth in the year 1200. And that's why when you do genealogy, the puzzle goes like that, and at year 1200, it starts going like that, because you're related to all these people. So to all of you, as Justin said, keep the who as important. Who is important? Every single one that you run into, because they are all your cousins. You go back not necessarily 6,000 years to Adam and Eve, but you can probably do it in 800 years. And it doesn't make any difference if the color of the skin is white, black, brown, red, yellow, olive, or any mixture of it. It doesn't make any difference. And I'll illustrate that in my own life. My 14th cousin, going back, we connect 400 years ago. My 14th cousin died 1 month ago yesterday. He was 57 years old, and he was found in an elevator at his home in Chanhassen. His name was Prince. 14th cousin. Never met him, but that's where he connected to me. And he's got a line going back to Charlemagne, Emperor of the Roman Empire in 800, so do I. But how far back do you go? Charlemagne's my 38th great-grandfather, but my 41st great-grandfather is Muhammad, the prophet, founder of Islam. It all connects going back. So everyone that you run into in life, each of you together right there, everyone you run into is your cousin. That's who you're dealing with as you go through life. Take care of your family. Congratulations to each of you. The Lord bless you. God bless.
Our next alumni presentation will be by Lois Bowers and Ramona Nelson.
Ten years ago, we began our family scholarship. We began developing and planning what we wanted to do with it because we wanted to help students here at Maplewood Academy. And we've been providing scholarships in memory of our parents and in honor of their commitment to supporting this school. And it was that commitment that probably was the beginning of our thought process. It was a little over 10 years ago when Dad passed away, and everybody said, let's do something. So I say us, there are two of us, there are really five, but there are two here today. You see, Mom and Dad put 5 of us siblings through here, each of us for 4 years. It represents 20 years of checks written to Maplewood Academy, 700 North Main, Hutchinson, Minnesota. Mom had that memorized. Many of us overlapped our years, so it was often 2 or 3 of us here and or at Union College. Some of you from that may get the impression that our family was wealthy. Well, no, not so. Our parents were farmers in southern Minnesota, and as the needs grew, Dad made room in his barn to milk a few more cows. Wealthy? No. But that's how they paid the bills. Mom and Dad have now passed away, and in their memory and with their desire to educate students in Adventist education, we've established a scholarship fund. This year it's a little bigger than usual because Mom passed away this last January, and many people gave money as a memorial. This money has been given to Maplewood and included in the gifts today. We thank all of you who have shared with us in your love, and we are happy to pass it on to Maplewood students. The rest of the scholarship monies come from the family, and we too are not wealthy, but we value Adventist education. Today we're able to give out 6 $500 scholarships. They will be given to juniors. Sorry, seniors. Some of you got them last year. To juniors here at Maplewood. I'm going to read the names of the recipients, and I ask that you come up here, and my sister's going to hand you the certificates, and she doesn't know you quite as well as I do, so make sure we get the names right here, okay? But we're happy to help you with your education. This scholarship will be applied for your senior year, so it will help some of you as you begin next year, as you come. We wanted it spent here at Maplewood. This is not a college scholarship. This is a Maplewood scholarship. So, juniors, I'm going to ask, Carrie Sitto. Carly Hansen. Emily Click. Sierra Ellison. Carlos Saravia. I have one more for Talia Squires, and I don't think she's here this morning unless Talia came back in today. She had to go home and isn't here with us this weekend, but we will get it to her. So our 6th one will be going to Talia. Thank you.
this time we have a representative from Union College, Elder Rich Carlson.
A psychological principle in developmental psych is delayed gratification, which means how long can you put off what you really want as a sign of maturity. So we're practicing that with you right now, seeing how long we can keep you from getting those. My name is Rich Carlson. I'm the chaplain down at Union College, and I began my career after graduating from Union College right here. This was my first job before that ad building was there, before many of your parents were probably born. It was a while ago. My second job was at Union College, where I've been for 36 years. I've seen a lot of you down there. You've been there for college days, you've been there for basketball and volleyball and music and whatever else you happen to come for. And my dream would be that you all join our freshman class next year. 22 of you have actually applied and been accepted, and we have some awards we'd like to present to you today. Union College is one of the first schools that stopped top-loading scholarships, which means we'll give you a scholarship for your freshman year, and then good luck after that point. The scholarships we're going to award from now on carry on and are renewable every year you hang in there and succeed in college, because we don't want you to start college, we want you to finish college. It's the next step. Last year we gave away $5 million in scholarships at Union College. This year, Maplewood's portion so far for 22 of you is $674,000. We've divided them up into different categories based on how well you've done in academy, how seriously you took your ACT test. I remember taking it. Mine was a, let's see, I did B last time. I think I should circle a C this time. And I paid for that dearly. So for all of you who took your ACT test seriously and you survived Mr. Swanson's classes, who was here as an old teacher when I started. Is Mr. Swanson here even? Where is he? Swanee, I can't even... He's too old to stand up. It's all right. There he is, right there. Swanee, I'm talking about you. You don't have to come up. I'm just talking about you. Oh, he's going to come anyway. He didn't know I was going to do this to him, but he's going to help me give the awards, won't you? Sure. Sure, why not? He has no choice right now. We have several categories we'd like to announce, and if you would hold your applause until each category has been given out, then we'll move ahead a little quicker, and you can get to those quickly, okay? Okay, Swanee, you help me with this. The first one is the College Achievement Scholarship, and it has a 4-year value of $26,000. And there are 8 of you who received that, so when I call your name, come up and get your certificate. Daniel Bustamante. Stephen Chilson. Glennie Garrido. I was told not to say Thalucci. Oh, what up? sit down and give them some air, unless you're a nurse or a doctor. Now I feel terrible. Swanee, thank you. We love you. Continuing with the College Achievement Scholarship, the Lucci, or I guess I'm supposed to call you Lucci, right? Lucci Colley. Gloria McCory. Oliver Nelson. Luis Saw. Marvin Velasquez. The second level of awards, 10 of these students achieved the Academic Merit Scholarship with a four-year value of $28,000. Dominic Akoy. Chase Albertson. Rachel Boto. Stephanie Chavez. Haley Grace. Ethan Jasper. Samuel Carosi. Abigail Kirwa. Harley Kramer. Olivia Lesh. Three students achieved the next level of academic honors scholarship with a total value of $36,000. Jenna Boto. Taylor Olson. and Maricel Vargas. And one student received the President's Scholar Award with a total value of $52,000. Regina Leach. It's not too late for the rest of you. You can still apply, and we can have one of these for you as well. But we look forward to whatever your future is. Union College would love to have you join us next year, but if it's somewhere else, we wish God's greatest blessings on each of you and pray that God will keep leading and guiding you, and if it includes Union College, that's great. I put a little gift under your chair also as a gift from Union College, so you can store all your wisdom next year when you go to college. Thank you very much.
At this time, we have the Morrison Family Scholarship to present by the Morrison family.
Good morning. My name is Christopher Morrison, coach, and I graduated from Maplewood Academy in 2001.
And my name is Alyssa Morrison-Valit, and I graduated in the class of 2004. And today we are presenting an award. We are the children and grandchildren. We're the grandkids of John M. Morrison, class of 1955. And he was a huge supporter of my parents and us. We have 4 siblings and 2 cousins, and he and my grandma have always supported us in Christian education. And even after we were done, we just wanted to, in memory of him, carry on supporting Maplewood students and their ability to go to Maplewood.
So today we want to give a scholarship. The recipient of this John M. Morrison Scholarship has demonstrated the exceptional qualities of hard work, perseverance, and Christ-like citizenship, and is therefore awarded the scholarship of $1,500, and that recipient is Emily Click.
At this time, I have several awards to present for people who could not be present to share their awards today. The first one is the President's Award. A certificate signed by President Obama is presented to the students who I will list in the following, who made it to the top of their class. These students show personal commitment to academic achievement and excelled in their studies. This year, the Presidential Academic Achievement Award is presented to Regina Leach, Harley Kramer, Maricel Vargas, and Chase Albertson. The next award is presented by the North American Division, and they present every year a Caring Heart Award to a student who has demonstrated personal commitment to service and witnessing activities and service programs. The recipient of this award will receive a plaque, a Bible, and a $500 scholarship to be used on a short-term mission trip or toward tuition for any Seventh-day Adventist school. This year, the Caring Heart Award goes to Stephanie Chavez. Don't go too far, Stephanie, because we have a second award for you that is more personal. The mission of the Center Clinic is to provide teens and low-income and uninsured individuals with quality, confidential, affordable, physical, mental health care, counseling, and education. We believe that access to basic physical and mental health care and education are essential to all. The Center Clinic vision is to help Dodge County teens and women reach their health care goals. The true statement of the Center Clinic is the volunteers that donate their time and talents for others. The clinic board, volunteers, and staff would like to honor Stephanie Chavez with the Youth Service Scholarship. We honor that Stephanie is part of our Center Clinic family, and we know you will be successful in your future studies. Congratulations, Stephanie. The next scholarship is the Ray Kelly Memorial Scholarship. Ray Kelly was a man who valued doing a good day's work for his company. He also valued education and his family and employees bettering themselves. He liked to help those who help themselves. $1,000 scholarships, which may be used at any institution of higher learning, are awarded to seniors Sean and Stephen Chilson. The Barsness Family Memorial Scholarship is presented in loving memory of Greg Barsness by the class of 1981. This award honors hardworking students who strive to make a difference in their school and community, and this year, in the amount of $1,500, is given to Daisy Marura. Next, we have a class, Maplewood Academy class of 1962, who annually gives scholarships to students who are worthy and achieve above and beyond. These two scholarships from the class of 1962, both in the amount of $600, are going to Oliver Nelson and Gloria McCory. Thank you very much to all who have presented today, and to our alumni and those who give to make Adventist education possible for our young people. And now we have gotten to one of the most important moments of today. As principal of Maplewood Academy, and on the recommendation from the registrar, I declare the graduates receiving their diplomas today have met the academic requirements for graduation according to the standards set by the state of Minnesota and the Mid-American Union of Seventh-day Adventists. We are very proud of all of you, and thank you for entrusting your children to us.
Dominic Alfred Acquay, graduating with honors. Oliver Edward Nelson IV. Jude Von Keller, graduating with high honors. Fritz Emmanuel Gofa. Justina Malaysia Scott. Gloria Biaki McCory. Abigail Shabet Kirwa. Regina Kaylee Lene Leach, graduating with high honors. Olivia Rose Lesh. Marisol Vargas, graduating with high honors. Taylor Joy Olson. Marvin Velasquez. Ethan Jasper, graduating with honors. Kyle Dean Chafee. Nicole Whitney Cox. Taluchi Mumlo Coley. Samuel Bosiri Kurosi, graduating with high honors. Jenna Ann Boto, graduating with high honors. Rachel May Boto, graduating with honors. Carlos Lucar. Apollo Jeremy Valoramos. Chase Richard Albertson, graduating with high honors. Jasper Okuri Angare. Stephanie Angelita Chavez Faya, graduating with honors. Haley Margaret Grace, graduating with honors. Louis Saw. Andrew James Martin. Dylan Andrew Forcier.
We did it, Mom.
Ikaro Felipe Sampaio Silva, graduating with honors. Stephen Addison Chilson. Harley Diane Rose Kramer, graduating with high honors. Sean William Chilson. Glennie Fabiola Garrido. Daniel Jesus Bustamante.
As principal of Maplewood Academy, it's my joy and honor to present you the newest members of the Maplewood Academy Alumni Association, the senior class of 2016. At this time, I'm also proud to present to you the senior class of Maplewood Academy, the class of 2017. Congratulations to you both.
Let's pray. Dear God, thank you for taking us through our journey. Thank you for blessing us these few years, and thanks for bringing all our friends and family here. Please keep us safe. In Jesus' name, amen.
If I could have your attention just a moment. Evan Swanson checked out fine. He's going to the hospital just to be sure, but he's got sore ribs and a little bump on his head. He was very coherent, walking around saying, "I'm very, very sorry I fell off the stage." So he's doing fine though, just wanted you to know that, yeah.